By banishing the name, by reducing it to its initial letter, V, they made the rope invisible, which did not mean it did not exist. They echoed each other in other ways. Their voices were high. They were of similarly wiry build and medium height. They were both nearsighted. And, after lifetimes of priding themselves on the quality of their teeth, they had both surrendered to the humiliating inevitability of dentures. But it was the unused name, that symmetrical V, the name that could not be spoken, that had joined them together for decades. The two old men did not share a birthday, however. One was 17 days older than the other. That must have been how Senior and Junior got started, even though the nicknames had been in use for so long that nobody could now remember who originally thought them up. V Senior and Junior they had become, Junior V and Senior V forevermore, quarreling to the death. They were 81 years old. If old age was thought of as an evening ending in midnight oblivion, they were well into the 11th hour.
"You look terrible,"
Junior told Senior, as he did every morning.
"You look like a man who is only waiting to die."
Senior, nodding gravely and also speaking in accordance with their private tradition, responded,
"That is better than looking, as you do, like a man who is still waiting to live."
Neither man slept well anymore. At night, they lay on hard beds without pillows, and behind their closed eyelids, their unsettled thoughts ran in opposite directions. Of the two men, Senior had lived by far the fuller life. He had been the youngest of 10 brothers, all of whom had excelled in their chosen field, as athletes, scientists, teachers, soldiers, priests. He himself had begun his career as a college champion long-distance runner, then risen to a senior position with the railway company, and for years he had traveled the railroads, covering tens of thousands of miles, to assure himself and the authorities that the proper safety levels were being maintained. He had married a kind woman and fathered 6 daughters and 3 sons, each of whom had proved fertile in his or her turn, providing him with a haul of 33 grandchildren. His 9 brothers had sired a total of 33 more children, his nephews and nieces, who had inflicted upon him no fewer than 111 further relatives. To many men this would have been proof of his good fortune, for a man blessed with 205 family members was a rich man indeed. But abundance gave an ascetically inclined man like Senior a permanent, low-level headache.
"If I had been sterile,"
he told Junior frequently,
"how peaceful life would have been."
After his retirement, Senior had been one of a group of 10 friends who met every day to discuss politics, chess, poetry, and music at a local Besant Nagar coffee house, and several of his commentaries on these topics had been published in the excellent daily newspaper based in the city. Among his friends was the editor of that newspaper, as well as one of the editor's employees, a celebrated local figure, a bit of a firebrand and too much of a boozer, but the creator of wonderfully grotesque political cartoons. Then there was the city's finest astrologer, who had been trained as an astronomer, but had come to believe that the true messages of the stars could not be received through a telescope, and a fellow who for many years had fired the starting pistol at the racetrack's well-attended meets, and so on. Senior had reveled in their company, telling his wife that it was a grand thing for a man to have friends from whom he could learn something new every day. But now everyone was dead. One by one his friends had all gone up in flames, and the coffee house that might have preserved their memory had been torn down too. Of the 10 brothers only he remained, and their wives, too, were long departed. Even his kindly wife was dead, and in his great old age he had remarried, finding himself, through a marriage broker, a widow with a wooden leg, a union of convenience for them both, with which they were both discontented. Instead of unhappy solitude, they found themselves trapped in unhappy togetherness. He behaved toward her with an irritability.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.